Hello, it's Delia. Thanks for clicking on. So, how do you get balance in an information stream that doesn't want you balanced? So, with the news itself, if it was written or presented in the most neutral terms possible, it's still horrible. To everything being presented in its most alarming way, and now we have another potential virus. So these are different levels. There's the public world, there's the international world, there's national news, there's national politics, and then there's your personal health, right? So any one of those layers are jacked right now. It's just set up to clickbait, to get everybody riled, to get everybody agitated, to get everybody uncentered and ungrounded. So how do you still get whatever information you might need and live with this environment? So first of all, there's the usual thing, which is don't spend so much time on screens and don't spend so much time with the information streams. Meaning don't watch so much news, and have a limit that you're going to watch a day, and then don't go over the limit. It's similar to soap operas right now, because you can miss a week, or if you watch reruns of The West Wing, you can miss a decade and you'll still be caught up. So granted, there's a lot more law breaking going on a federal scale than there's ever been before. But unless you're in the law, unless you're wanting to be active, whether it's in 5 calls a day or sending postcards, even so, find your way. Maybe one of those is your way, and then spend a set amount of time on that a day. And that's part of your information time. So let's say you had an hour to hear what the news is, and you have your favorite people that you want to check in with, what they have to say, and then you want to do something, because action steps matter a lot, and they matter a lot publicly, and they matter a lot to your nervous system. So a rule of thumb I like to use, it's like decluttering your house. If you're going to take something in, you have to let something go, right? So if you're going to listen to an hour's worth of information a day, then have part of it be your action step. What am I going to be doing about this? The 5 calls or the postcards or something. So that you're not just leaking or bleeding the whole time. Being completely receptive without discernment is not a good idea, ever. You want to be present for whatever you're listening to, and here's the nub. If what you're listening to is making you crazy, stop listening to it. If what you're listening to is getting you agitated, so you can feel your stomach acids are kicking in, your GERD is kicking in, you want to throw something across the room, pay attention to that and stop. Whatever you're listening to, stop listening to it. We have being informed confused with a lot of things right now, and being informed on a global level isn't going to help you make the world a better place within your walls or within your neighborhood. And you know, your house, your thinking, your palace, the palace of you, needs to be cleaned. It needs to be attended to. You need to not be dragging in garbage into your palace. Whether that's the palace of your body, like food, or the palace of your mind, like what words are you listening to? What music are you listening to? Is it all deconstruction? Is there any generative going on? If you're interested in ecology and you know, generative ecology and recycle, reuse, all of that, how are you applying that to the information that you take in? So if you think about your system as an ecology, then you think about what are you putting into it, right? And so that's the thing is, if you find yourself kind of going insane, or really going insane, or trying to not go insane, if there's any kind of resistance or struggle with insanity, if there's any kind of defending for or against, that's a good sign to back away. Whatever it is. And there's a lot of horrible things right now. You're losing your center isn't worth it. It's only by being centered that you have the power for discernment and to make any kind of action that'll be potent and worthwhile. So a lot of us are really programmed, we're really familiar, we're really trained at being knocked out of our centers. And you know, that's like, from my experience, Christmas was also, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day were also always days where I was in the most incredible amount of stress and anxiety and hypervigilance, as was everybody else in my family. And it took me 20 years to realize that I kept trying to recreate that kind of agitation so it would feel like Christmas. And this whole thing that's going on, everything that's going on, you can look at it from the biological level, from the physical level, and it'll be very upsetting and depressing and pointless. But if you pull back a little bit, and if you have some greater perspective, like a longer timeline, or like looking at the planet from you know, out of Artemis's window, you know, if you have just some perspective, however you want to get it, what's happening on the outer scale, on the public scene, is resonating with something inside, personally, privately. And that's what is asking to be healed. As each one of us raises our vibration, does our shadow work, participates with our inner family members, gets cleared and healed, and transforms the old pains into incredible fonts of wisdom. All of the stuff that happens on the outside, it can't happen. The more everybody is awake and present and healed up enough to want to be living a generative life, and the world is a very different place when everyone is awake and saying, you know, okay, there's no grown-ups in this room, I'm going to be the grown-up. I may or may not have a forum to introduce this adult sovereign perspective onto other people. I maybe not, but I can definitely live in it. And the more everyone is living in their own sovereignty, which means in alignment, which means in integrity with their own higher good, all this other stuff has to fall away. And you, a single individual, agitated and completely believing that we're screwed, is not going to be effective at affecting change. I just saw AOC on a C-SPAN thing over the weekend, and they were asking her if she was going to run in 2028, and she was talking about Bezos, and Washington Post threatening her. And she was laughing, saying, they seem to think that my ambition is positional, and that I have to have a particular office, but my ambition is to change this country and to change the world. And I was just like, yeah, all my life I've been a nobody who had nobody cared about, right? But in a public sense. But that's been my mission all along, is to change the world. And I've had to learn what that means, and what do I mean by that. And all of those questions and all of those struggles to find out are building the muscle so that I can do that, whether I have an audience or not. There's a great thing in Khalil Gibran's book, The Prophet, where he talks about pain. One of the chapters is about pain, and I'll get it wrong, I'll paraphrase it, but he's saying that pain is the breaking of the shell of your understanding. Pain is the breaking of the shell of your understanding. So we have to get bigger. We have to get bigger than the school books. We have to get bigger than what the news says is real. We have to get bigger than what the TV shows we've loved have told us is real. We have to get bigger than what convention says is reality. And that's where we're the cavalry. Again, whether anybody else recognizes that about us or not. Because changing your world changes the world around you. It doesn't make sense. It's not rational, but it is true. So change, heal you, grow you, and you change, heal, and grow the world around you. And it's absolutely true. So Ted Turner just died. He's a great example of somebody who felt the power, the passion that they were born to change the world. And he did amazing things that had never been done before and have been copied all over the place ever since. But he believed that he was here to change the world, and so he did. And you don't have to have $1 million to do that. You don't have to have an audience to do that. You can be changing the world by how you are at your job. You can be changing the world by how you are in public at the grocery store. How you are changes the world. How you are affects the world. And the more you are home within the palace of you, the more you're appreciating you, the more you're on your side and wanting to listen and hear from all of your shadow parts and other parts, the more you're interested in cultivating your own lusciousness and your own greatest good, then all your choices can align to that. And then you're not making choices that distract you from that anymore. So I've heard about integrity being like a moral compass or a moral word. But if you look in nature, integrity is, it's even simpler than that. A tree has a bark, and it has an integrity of the cellular structure that decides how the bark is going to look and how the tree is going to grow. And inside a blade of grass, there's the integrity of how the cell structures are shaped. or in a crystal, or in a snowflake, or in an oxygen molecule, or, you know, or. It's all over the place. Integrity is just not being what you are not, so that you have the space to be what you are. And you're not a definition. You're not your body. You're not your emotions. You're not your history. You're not your past. You're not your feelings. And without all of that, you still have integrity. You still have a nature of who you are, that you can trust, that the entire world has been teaching you it's been teaching all of us for a very long time in this particular strain of history, that you can't be trusted, but you can. If you like what you like for a reason, if you follow what you like, which I include in that, has nothing to do with hurting other people, has nothing to do with damaging things, yourself or others. If you follow what's light for you, you will be in integrity, and you will be so appropriately busy with being who you are and what you came here to do, that you will have no time for all of the stuff that you can't and shouldn't and won't, and all the stuff that other people's are projecting out onto you. It just has nothing to stick to in you. So when you're trying to find out news, you know, look for different sources of information, balance it with information that's not from this country. The Guardian is great. The Irish Times are great. Al Jazeera is great. There's just plenty of ways to get the information without the agitation. It's only here that everything is so fused that you can't tell the difference between emotion and information. And learning the difference between the two is really, really helpful. So the guiding rule of thumb is, if it's making you crazy, stop it. And you'll be able to find out what you need to find out in some other fashion. So, thanks for coming along today. I wish you more and more sovereignty. I hope that you can see how the things that are happening are actually happening to help you find the spots in you that are ready to grow, also known as owies. And be present with yourself, and look kindly on your process. So I'll see you next time.